Once you understand the economic concept of negative externalities, the stories surrounding Labor Day will start to make a lot more sense. But once you fully grasp it, you'll be able to take this concept and apply it to other contexts. I'll give you an example in urban design. Now, I'm outside the Dixie Mercerizing Company building here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's in the Ridgedale neighborhood adjacent to mine, and I'm going to talk about this later. But the term externalities refers to the hidden costs incurred by someone in order to allow a company to profit. So imagine your kid has a lemonade stand, and it's cheaper than all the other kids' lemonade stands, and also a higher quality. But your kid is able to outlast and put the other lemonade stands out of business in part because they're able to turn a profit when the other kids can't. But the reason they can turn a profit is because they're getting their lemons by stealing them from a nearby lemon grove. That is to say, they haven't found a profitable way to sell better lemonade at a lower cost. They're simply shifting some of that expense onto the nearby lemon grove. Historically, this happened in all sorts of industries. In particular, the textile industry, which was huge in Chattanooga, had to deal with one of the biggest strikes in American history in 1934 because of the unsafe conditions and labor exploitation that the workers in the textile industry experienced. But you can also see this in chemical companies, which dump untreated waste into a river, and generations end up paying for that cost. And so that their profit isn't so much in the value that they provide, but the cost they're able to shift onto other parts of society and history. That's an externality. Like the Ridgedale neighborhood and my neighborhood, Highland Park, are currently an EPA Superfund site because a lot of these houses' foundations were leveled out with sand from a foundry and include toxic amounts of lead. This Parks and Recreation building is slated to get torn down because the remediation for the asbestos that's inside it makes it not worth saving. So how does this apply to urban design? An example of this is in America, we think of cars as the most efficient form of transit. Because if I want to go from here to there, doing so in a car is the most efficient way for me personally. But we've built out our roads and our transit systems in such a way that it takes from someone else. If somebody wants to, say, go on public transit or to be able to walk to a nearby grocery store, they can't in part because of the system that we've built out. And cars do not even pay close to their fair share of expenses. Gas taxes make up less than 50% of the cost of infrastructure and roads required for cars. Cars carry less people per hour than other forms of transit and haven't become dominant as a result of the free market or freedom and choice of other people, but rather because of government overreach, mostly enabled by private companies and corporations. But let me give you another example of an externality in the urban environment. Chattanooga, like most cities, has a problem maintaining our roads. We have 2,500 lane miles of roads in our city. If a developer comes and says, hey, I want to build 1,000 houses and a development on the outskirts of town. I'm going to build out the roads, the sewer, etc. I just want the city to pay to hook up my neighborhood to the city sewer. And once I'm completed, I want to give the roads and everything to the city. Sounds great. Free roads, quick influx of cash in the form of housing and property tax. Cities will often jump on this and take this deal. The problem is the houses that are built cannot afford the infrastructure that was built out for them. Though this gave the city the money it needed to pay for its bills now, in 25 years, they're going to have to build 2 more developments to afford the restoration of the facilities and the infrastructure of that development. It's what Chuck Marohn from Strong Towns calls the city growth Ponzi scheme. It's untenable, and that land is also taking away valuable agricultural and greenfield. It's something a city planner here in Chattanooga referred to as making a deal with the devil, something that they saw as necessary. But it doesn't have to be this way. There are profitable ways to develop your city that allow for more affordable housing, that increase the choice and freedom of your citizens, and keeps sprawl from competing with vital agricultural and natural land. But in order to do that, we need to take a hard look at our current development patterns and ask where the hidden cost is. Whenever something feels too good to be true, or like the default way of doing things, and a lot of times it's pushing the buck down the road and it's our children who are paying for it.